Hello, everyone. My name is Maria. I am a coordinator on the Tempe campus for the Student Organization and Leadership Office. And today we're going to go over just how to make sure your space reservations on any of the student unions and centers on any of our campuses goes through and is confirmed in a timely manner for everybody. Okay, so with recent changes to ASU event space reservation policies, this video will review the steps you must complete to ensure your event reservation is not delayed and or canceled. I'll also walk through how to fill out an ASU Event Registry form, which was formerly known as the Special Events Registry form. So we are focusing mainly on the student unions and centers on all of our campuses. So really, in general, all events on any of our campuses, in any buildings, anywhere, any space, need to have an event registry form filled out for them. But this video specifically is going to go through the 4 action items you need to take to ensure that your reservation is confirmed and it's ready to go for your event, focused on the student unions and centers on these campuses. So the 4 action items that we need to take to ensure that our reservation is ready to go for our event is 1, make a reservation using the Mazevo system. 2, add the event on Sun Devil Sync. 3, fill out an event registry form for the event. And 4, complete the Qualtrics form. So all these 4 steps need to happen in order to make sure that your reservation and space is good to go. It is yours for that time, that date that you want your event to happen. So I won't be going into detail of the Mazevo system or Sun Devil Sync because I think many of you watching this video are already familiar with the Mazevo system and Sun Devil Sync and making reservations and putting up events. But in case you don't, you can always look up those resources. We have our YouTube channel that goes over tutorials of how to add an event on Sun Devil Sync, and you can always reach out to the event and meeting services team on the Tempe campus and other campuses to go over the Mazevo system. And again, I will put up all these resources, all these contact informations at the end of this video so you can contact them as you wish. I will go into detail of the event registry form, so we'll do a walkthrough together, and also completing the Qualtrics form, we will all do that together. Arizona State University recently consolidated and updated its university event space policies to support expressive activities while also maintaining campus operations and the safety and security of all of our campuses. Updated guidelines for the use of university property and facilities took effect August 15th, 2024. Individuals participating in activities on campus are subject to all laws and applicable university policies, including the Arizona Board of Regents Code of Conduct. And I did include the link up here if you wanted to take a picture of it or jot it down, if you wanted to visit this manual or the Code of Conduct just to review it in more detail. It is there and available for you. Organizers of in-person gatherings on university property and off-campus gatherings related to university business must continue to register in advance with the event registry, so the university can make plans for safe participation by all and for all. A summary of the guidelines and information about how to reserve and use space can be found on the Free Speech at ASU website. Okay, so the first action step that we need to take is make that reservation request on the Mazevo system. I will have to go onto the Mazevo system website. Now, you will have to log into the website in order to use it. In order to log in, you will have to have an account created for you, and the Events and Meeting Services team is in charge of that. A very important note, though, is that if you are connected to a student organization, a student club, only the top 3 officers that are on our records, so on the records of the Student Organization and Leadership Office, will have access to the Mazevo system for their organization or club. Once we have put in the request for the room, it will show up under My Events under Current. So each event reservation booking now has an event number attached to it. We need to hold on to this number because this will come into play when we fill out our Qualtrics form at the end. For now, we have put the request in, and now we are ready to go on to the next step. So a few days, if not a few hours after you put in that original room booking request in, you will get an email notification from the Mazevo system letting you know of the next steps that you need to take. Very important to keep this email handy, just because it has all the links that you will need eventually here. But for now, our next step will be going on to Sendable Sync, but always make sure we keep this email handy. All right, so our next step would be to go onto Sendable Sync and filling out an event form, right? And like I said, I won't be going into great detail on this because probably most of you already know how to do this. And if not, we do have a YouTube tutorial video that goes step by step of how to create an event on Sendable Sync. So in order to get your event approved on Sendable Sync, you need to put a specific location on your event form. So our office will not approve an event if it just says Memorial Union as a location. Arizona Ballroom, Memorial Union, that will get approved. You can put a projected room on the Sendable Sync form. If in the future your room changes, you can always come back to your Sendable Sync event page and make edits. So once your Sendable Sync event page has been approved and it's up and running, and you now have your event page URL, you are ready to fill out your event registry page. And this is the link that is also included in that Mazevo notification email you were sent right after you made that initial room reservation booking. It's the very first link that you see there, and it'll lead you to the event registry page. Okay, so that link has now led you to this event registry homepage. But once you have logged in, to get to the form, you're going to go to My Events. You have the option My Dashboard and Create a New Registry Form. So we're going to go under Create a New Registry Form. So we are now on to the form. So for our purposes today, we are going to fill out this form for a fictional event, right? And we're going to call it Sparky's Winter Carnival. All right. So for the form itself, it's important to note that there are 6 tabs to the form that we need to fill out, right? So we need to fill out event info, program details, contact info, safety and security, food and alcohol, and supporting docs and signatures, right? So all those tabs need to be filled out in detail before we can publish or submit this event registry. All right, so on the first tab, we have our event information. Pretty simple, okay? So special event type, what kind of event is this? So for Sparky's Winter Carnival, I'm gonna put it's a festival. All right, and then it's gonna ask you for a brief description of the event. And you have to note the description that you're gonna do for any event coordinators or safety personnel that is gonna be viewing this registry, right? So not any of the marketing material that you have made for this event, not anything that you might have included on the Sendable Sync page event, right? We're just gonna write exactly what the event is for safety personnel and for anyone reviewing this registration form. So for Sparky Winter Carnival, it's an indoor event designed to bring the ASU community together for a festive winter celebration. Event will feature multiple activity stations, including carnival-style games, craft booths, seasonal refreshments. A designated stage area will host live performances and holiday-themed entertainment throughout the day. Sparky will also make scheduled appearances for photo opportunities with attendees, right? So it's very straightforward to the point of what's happening for the event. Does our event have a promotional website? Sparky Winter Carnival does not, but perhaps yours does. You would mark there if it does. Who is involved in organizing the events? So is this event produced by an ASU student organization? So for me, for Sparky's Winter Carnival, because I am staff and because I am a part of a ASU department, I would put no. But let's say if you are a student organization, right? So here it's going to ask you some additional information about your student org or your student club. So your name, the Sendable Sync org page. So that's really just your homepage on Sendable Sync that you have for your organization. And then here, the Sendable Sync event URL, that is where our Sendable Sync approved event page comes in. Okay, we're gonna just pretend that the Spring Involvement Fair is actually Sparky's Winter Carnival, right? So this is our admin view of the event that we are filling out the registry form for. So we're actually gonna go into our public viewed site, which should just go to view event. All right, so this is the URL you will now share with your registry form. So just copy the URL. We'll bring it over here and we'll paste it, right? And then we'll also paste our, like I said, our Sun Devil Sync org URL, which is just your home page. All right, so event location. So we said that this Sparky Winter Carnival will be on Tempe campus, and it will be, let's say, the Student Pavilion. All right, and we want specifically Sunita Ballroom. Indoor or outdoor event, it is an indoor. And then it will ask you to provide the contact information of the ASU staff or employee that granted the use of the building, property, or space, right? So for this one can get kind of a little bit tricky, but not really. Because you are in the process of reserving your space, you might not have your venue contact person yet, right? So because we don't have it yet, but we're filling this out now, you can simply put just Memorial Union, right? If you Google, Memorial Union ASU MU reservations, it'll bring you to a page that has their phone number, the contact email for MU reservations, and we're just going to add these as placeholders for now. It's important to note that if you do anything like this, like adding placeholders, you will need to come back and edit it. We're not just going to leave it as a Memorial Union because we have a specific person that's going to be our venue contact person. So for now, we're going to just include Memorial Union, but once we have our specific contact person, we will come back and update this section. And the good thing about the event registry form is even when we publish it, we can always come back and update any new information, any information that has changed. We can always come back and do that. So dates and time for Sparky Carnival, we're going to do it December 15th, which will be a Sunday. We'll do from 11 a.m. to 1. All right, an event setup, we'll leave it at 8 a.m. Tear down, we'll just say 3 p.m. All right, intended audience. All right, projected in-person attendance. This is how you say how many you think will be at your event. And we think we'll be at about the 100 to 250 range for our winter carnival. Which of the following audiences will be attending the event? Staff, students, student org advisors. Is the event open to general public? Ours is not, but if yours is, right, you would mark yes. Is ours invitation only? No. Will the event be promoted on public channels? Yes, our social media page. And which of the following age groups will attend the event? Perfect. All right, so we've got to the bottom of our first tab, right? So at this point, if you don't have enough time to do any of the other tabs, you can save as a draft, which will obviously save it as a draft for you to come back later. But we do not want to publish yet because when you select publish, that means that you have filled out all the tabs with all the information that you know to be true. So we don't want to publish it yet. What we want to do is go back to the top and go to our next tab, right? Program details. And again, it will ask you questions. Some of them, depending on the answer that you give, will ask you additional questions that you will have to fill out. Again, once you make it to the bottom, we want to return to the top and go to contact information for the next tab. For this page, the ASU event coordinator is you, the person who is filling out this registration form, or the person who is organizing this specific event. Even if you are a student connected to a student organization, if you are filling out this form, this information will be yours. So some of this does auto-populate for you. So ASU event coordinator name, Maria Leone, that is me because I am filling out this registration form. My affiliation, I am a staff. But again, if you are a student worker, you would fill that out. Your title, your specific business unit or department or college, right? Your contact information, your office. Well, for me, it would be my office number, but for you, it would be your cell phone number. And we highly, highly recommend to fill out the cell phone number, even though I think it would also be optional for you, just because if there is something that is happening at your event on the day of, right, we want to make sure that any personnel can reach you quickly and effectively on your cell phone. Right. And then your student org officer names, like also ask you for your advisor information. All right. And then at the bottom is the ASU event coordinator, the requester, sponsor of the event. So are you, this person that's filling out the registry form, the sponsor of the event or organizer of the event? So I select yes, because I am. And will I be on site? Yes. But if you are not going to be on site, you need to fill out the information of the person who will be on site. All right, returning to the top. Safety and security. Again, this will ask you questions about your event, like will you be hiring private security? Will you be requesting police services for any kind of crowd control, traffic control? Do you expect any disruptions? So like protests or demonstrations, depending on your event. Are you going to be requesting medical services for your event of any kind? Will your event have any physical activity? So like, let's say, for example, Sparky's Winter Carnival is going to have a bouncy house, right? Inside Sonita Ballroom. So we want to make sure we include any activity that could be risky to any attendees. And some of these questions you will need help answering, especially if you're using vendors, food trucks. You know, you may not know specifically what kind of cooking they'll be doing, what kind of electrical or power distribution they will need. So it is perfectly okay to actually even encourage to get in contact with your vendors and ask them these questions so then you can fill out this form accurately. And let's say you don't know this information now, right? So, but you know that you're going to have food trucks, so we'll put yes, there's going to be food trucks. The cooking description, I don't know yet. So for now, I'm just going to put kind of placeholders with the intention of coming back to fill this information out to make sure that everything is accurate and updated when I know of all information. All right, so you're going to fill out the rest of these questions pertaining to your event. Fill it out to the best of your knowledge. And again, if you don't know, you can always come back to it later, even after we publish it, right? That's the great thing about the event registry form, that we can come back and edit it. All right, so vendors, yes, I'll be using vendors. Other vendors, you'll list all the vendors and their information, their contact information there, and fill out all the rest of these questions. All right, returning to the top, we filled out that tab. We're ready to go. Food and alcohol. Will food be served? Yes. I'm going to use food trucks. And here I'm going to list all the possible sources of the food. Again, this might not be something you know, so you'll have to get in contact with your food vendors that you're going to use. But again, for our purposes today, right now I'm filling it out. I don't know, so I will come back after I have reached out to my food vendors, asking what the source of the food that they're going to use. I will also get a full menu of what they're going to provide at the event. Okay, and will alcohol be served at the event? For us, no. All right, so our very last tab here is for supporting documents and signatures, right? So here is where you can upload any event maps, any site diagrams. For your vendors, you do need to collect the certificate of insurance from any vendors that you're going to use. So here would be a good place to kind of just store them, to organize them, make sure you have them all in file. But I would also do a backup save on your computer just to have everything that you need. If you would like to upload any invoices or quotes from vendors, you can organize that all here. If you have any general comments about your event, you can include them on this form as well. And down here, if it is determined through this registry that you will need a special event permit, you will be given that information, like the scale of it is so large. You need to put the information of how you're going to pay here, right? So typically with a student organization or a student club, you would leave it as the option credit card or P card as the way of paying for the special permit if it is required. If you're with a department or college, you can do Workday account and fill out the Workday account information for your payment. All right, and the last step on this last tab would be just to sign your name, citing that you have filled this out with accurate information. If you intend to come back to update any information or any missing information that you have for your event that you did not put in this registry form so far. All right, so now that we have filled out all the tabs, right? So we have 6 tabs up here. Now that we have filled out all those tabs, we are ready to publish. And again, even if we publish this event registry and later on something changes or we finally figure out all the information from our vendors, it is okay to come back and edit that portion. But for now, we want to make sure that this is ready and set to go. We want to make sure that this event is on people's radars, specifically like ASU PD, food safety and health, and any other departments that may need to have a hand in this event. We want to make sure that they are aware of this event coming up. We can select publish. Once you have published your event, you can go back to the My Events tab at the top of the website and select My Dashboard. So once you are in My Dashboard, you will be able to see that your event registry has been created, right? So it'll be listed down here, and this event registry or event will now have an event ID. This is the information that we need to now move on to the next step or the next action item, which is filling out our Qualtrics form. All right, so we've made it to the last step of our 4 action item steps that we need to take to ensure that our reservation is good and complete and will get accepted, right? So if we think back to that email notification from Mazevo, we have completed the first step that it includes here, right? So the event registry form, that link we have done, we've completed it. The next part and the next link that they include in this notification is for the Qualtrics form, which is just here where it says, please share your event number here. So the 2 pieces of information that you're going to need to complete the Qualtrics form is your Mazevo event number, and you're also going to need that event registry event ID number, right? So those 2 pieces of information you will need to have handy when you fill out this form. Once you've made it onto the Qualtrics form, you'll need to fill out a couple pieces of information. So listing the name of your office, department, or student organization. So this is the student organization, the department, or the office who is organizing the event. You're going to provide your email address. You're going to list the dates of your event. So let's say Sparky's Winter Carnival, again, was going to be on the 15th. We put that there. Where have you requested to host your event? At the Student Pavilion. Which specific space have you requested to host? Student Pavilion, Sanita Ballroom. And then here it will ask first your Mazevo event number, right? So let's say our number was 1234 for the Mazevo reservation number, and our event registry number was D5678. All right, so you have filled in those 2 pieces of information. And just a few more questions here. Is your event open to the general public? No. And does your event have an expected attendance of 250 or more? So for Sparky's Winter Carnival, we did. And so we need to select yes. All right, and then we click next, and you will be brought to a page that says, thank you for submitting your form. All right, and so once you get to that page that says, thank you for submitting the form, you are done. You have finished all the 4 action item steps that you need to ensure that your Mazevo room reservation gets approved and it is all set and ready for your event. All right, so to recap, the 4 action item steps that you're going to take. You're going to make a reservation using the Mazevo system. And doing this, you will receive an event number. Next, you're going to add that event to Sun Devil Sync and get it approved. And doing that, you will receive your event Sun Devil Sync URL, which will be needed for the registry. Then you're going to fill out an event registry for your event. And here you will receive an event ID. You will complete the Qualtrics form. And again, this will ask for your Mazevo event number and your event registry ID. Once you complete the Qualtrics form, you will get a confirmation from Events and Meeting Services letting you know that your space is good and ready to go and your reservation is set for your date and time. So again, a couple of things to remember: that if you filled out the registration form and you maybe skipped a couple of questions or you were going to come back to some questions, but you have already published it, that is absolutely okay. You can always go back in and make any edits to those forms. So failure to complete steps will result in event space cancellations, right? There are no exceptions. If you did not do those 4 action item steps, space will not be held and you will not be able to hold your event in that location. All right, again, if there are any questions, please reach out to Events and Meeting Services, specifically if there are Mazevo questions, or you can always reach out to us, the Student Organization and Leadership Office. We are happy to provide you support. So thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. We hope this video helped you in knowing the steps that you need to take to ensure that your reservation is good and booked. And we hope you have a successful event.